Hello and welcome back to Warhammer. I'm your host, Mark, and tonight we will be journeying the Segmentum Solar together with my good friend, Christoph. Yo.
Hey. I feel like I haven't done this in a while. I'm a little rusty. Forgot how to podcast.
Yeah. We were going hard for a while, and then we were kind of like, why whip my own back? No, we have kids and stuff. It's been fun, but good to have you back. We're going to have a fun episode. We're going to learn a little bit more about the galaxy. Joining us today, we got Jordan's whiskey, and hopefully he'll be sober enough to remain with us as well, Jordan.
Hey, yo. Yep. I actually haven't poured myself anything yet, but maybe we will as the show goes on. If it's good enough, I'll start drinking. Or maybe
if it's good enough, okay.
If it gets good or if it gets real bad.
Yeah, either way.
I've been doing like a little vanilla Coke. We grab a little vanilla and a little Coke and get a little swirl.
Oh,
yeah.
Does that actually taste good? Like just
fantastic.
Adding the vanilla extract? Oh man.
Yeah, man.
It's so hard to find vanilla Coke here, man. Well, it's like retarded. So
I live on an island, so you got to find ways to make anything yourself. You should see my Doritos; they're great. But this is not a food podcast, no. But I do have a Discord channel, and there is a food channel there. So maybe if you want some pro island recipe tips, go check out the Discord, and you can get links to that in the description below, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You can also join the Imperial Tithe and support the show. Get ad-free version of the show for only $2.50. That's probably cheaper than a vanilla Coke, and a video version for $5. Vanilla Cokes are pretty expensive nowadays, I think, just because they're so rare.
Yeah.
And you can also hop in on the live stream if you are a member of the Patreon. We do a live chat room during the show, and we also do call-in guests at the very end. So yeah, it's always fun to have you guys jump in with us.
Yeah, the Warhammer kitchen. Which host will I cook up next? All those.
You can have my calf muscle, Mark.
Oh, nice.
I make a particularly good Wiener schnitzel.
Yeah, I'll dabble on just a little bit of your cooked cock. Sure, why not? Yeah, okay. That's messed up. Yeah, I know the chat say they want the Warhammer kitchen, corpse starch recipe, all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, this episode's going to be interesting. I learned quite a bit. When compiling these notes, this is the second part of the series we're doing. I think it's going to be like 5 or 6 parts. But when compiling the notes, I'm like, okay, how do we share the galaxy with all you guys? Like, I know you want to hear about the Halo stars. I hear about it all the time. But like, how do we get to that point? I don't want to just get there. So let's compile it. So we start with the segmentums. Now we're doing we did the segmentum majoris. Now we're doing the segmentums individually. And then even that, I started writing notes. I'm like, what the fuck? There's a lot of stuff in this segmentum. Almost like there's a whole fucking galaxy of stuff here. So I was having this real issue of like, what do I put in this episode? Like, how do I know there's a little bit of information about the segmentum, but not enough for an episode. So I kind of came up with the thought was the best way to share about the segmentum was maybe like their capital system. These don't actually exist in 40K. I've never heard that term called before. But for example, the Segmentum Solar, the capital system would be the Sol system where Terra is. Makes sense to me. When we look over to the galactic east, over to the, what is it? That one way. Forget what Obscurus?
I don't remember.
No. Yeah, I forget off the top of my head.
Pacificus, there's Solar, there's Pacificus,
Ultima.
Obscurus, Ultima.
Yeah, but when you go that way, I would look at the Ultramarine Empire and probably focus in on that as the capital. Then we go up north. Maybe we'll look at Dante and like, why did he get named Lord Regent up there? So basically each segmentum is going to get an episode and then also kind of focus in on something very unique to that. Like this is the core of this kind of area. So in this episode, we are doing the Segmentum Solar first, and then we will be talking about the Segmentum Fortress, which is pretty cool. It's on Mars, called the Ring of Iron. Awesome title. Then we'll talk about the Battle Fleet, and then we're going to get into the capital sector, which is the Solar Sector and the Sol System. And we're going to, which I'm very excited about, talk about all the planets which exist in our time. As we learned on the last episode, we're not actually in the same timeline as 40K. We're in some type of parallel reality close to it. But the Milky Way galaxy looks slightly different than the one we live in. But all the planets in our system are there, so we'll get to learn about Christian's Uranus and
fun. Oh no, we're not going there. Yeah. A little more maturity, a little more class for this episode, Mark, please. We're talking about the stars here.
We'll talk about Titan, homeworld of the Great Knights. We'll just talk about all the planets. So that would be kind of cool to go through, get a little more like grade 3 science astrology lessons in planetary order and whatnot.
I love grade 3 astrology.
Yeah, should be good. And then I did find some cool Astartes legions and Imperial Guards specifically that are in the Sol system, and they're pretty fucking cool. We're not going to go into too much detail, but you'll hear the names, and I definitely recommend Googling whatever one kind of catches your fancy. So that and a whole lot more. So let's get into it, I think.
All right, let's get into it. The Segmentum Solar. Segmenta Majoris. A segmentum, or segmente, also named the Segmente Majoris, is the Imperium's greatest division of void and dominion. 5 segmente carve the galaxy into vast regions of fire and ash: the central Segmentum Solar, the eastern Segmentum Ultima, the southern Segmentum Tempestus, and the northern Segmentum Obscurus, and the western Segmentum Pacificus. They stretch across the Milky Way like scars left by war unending. Do the Segmentums still stand even after the Great Rift?
Yeah, they do. And we kind of talked about like a galactic rearranging of, we technically almost need a north and south Segmenta Ultima and a north and south Segmentum Obscurus, and also a north and south Segmentum. No, that's all. Just those two. Pacificus doesn't get hit. So yeah, you kind of break those kind of like that.
Divided by the Great Rift.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Each segmentum is broken into sectors, vast cages of void and worlds. A sector span twists with density and need, but a typical one binds 7 million cubic light years and expands near 200 light years wide, choked with ceaseless war and watch. Sectors fracture into subsectors, where 2 to 8 star systems are yoked together in a radius of 10 light years. Some contain more, some only one solitary sun. This measure is chained to the cursed reach in the Imperial Navy vessels through the Imperium, where patrols burn and vanish. Subsectors divide worlds, not void, leaving countless star systems outside their grasp, abandoned to silence. These abandoned tracks are intersectors, better named wilderness zones, forbidden voids, wilderness space, the frontier black. They rot with nebulae, haunted systems, alien dominions, unsought suns, and dead or damned worlds. Each segmentum bears its own navy and merchant fleets, and a fortress stronghold or naval bastion, an anchor for all wars. Segmentum fleet masters, named Lord High Admirals, command endless slaughter. The Segmentum fortress itself bends to the iron will of the Administratum Tyrant, the master of the Segmentum. Though forged for fleet and trade, the Segmentae have long since curdled into the Imperium's chains of rule. Without such divisions, the galaxy would devour itself in chaos, yet even with them, it burns unceasing.
Yeah, it's like, okay, great. We've broken down 8 billion planets into 2 billion. That's manageable. Good job, boys. Administration work done.
To be fair, as much as you mock it, that is kind of how you have to govern, because the Imperium is so vast that, you need to break them down into these sectors and subsectors to even make it a manageable project.
Yeah, it's fun looking. Sorry, Jordan.
I do like that they have better names for it than a lot of the stars and systems that we have named these things, like M31.
The scientists today are not the creative types,
Just terrible.
I need a little gothic flavoring.
Yeah.
At least put some flair into it or something.
There are some cool ones out there, I'm just saying. But a lot of them are, like Gleesy 65, HD 18875.
Yeah, I feel like they've just given up though.
There's too many. They ran out.
You can buy your own Jordan. We can call it Jordan's World, and when you're dead, we can shoot your corpse to it, and eventually you will land there.
That'd be sweet.
You want it?
Actually,
You want it?
idea.
50
Yeah.
bucks.
$50.
Lorehammer's next project. We're going to start selling planets and stars to people.
Yeah, and shooting them to them. Don't forget the second part is.
Well, yeah, of course. We're hoping by then rocket technology will be cheap enough we could fire your corpses into space.
Yes. The galactic map is pretty cool. I forgot to mention when doing these episodes, we will be looking at it from an Imperial perspective. So looking at it from like the Imperial perspective, the galactic map is kind of off center, where Terra is kind of just right off to the left a little bit of the galactic center. So the biggest sector is the Segmentum Ultima. And when you're looking at this map, you can kind of just see how it's ripped in half in different sectors and how that's all kind of size-wise and all that, Come check the Patreon or YouTube out.
All right, let's get into the Segmentum Solar. It is the vast dominion of imperial space anchored upon Terra and the Sol system. The Navy's Imperialis, colossal shipyards, rise above Luna as monuments of vigilance, while the fortress heart of the Segmentum rests within Mars' ring of iron, the shining bastion of the Adeptus Mechanicus. The Segmentum Solar is the keystone of the Imperium, the oldest, most sacred, and most fortified realm of humanity's dominion. But they still let Horus get in. At its core stands Terra, the Throneworld, where the Emperor of mankind sits eternal upon his golden throne, a beacon that drives back the dark. Surrounded by the other segmenti, the central Segmentum is shielded on all sides, a heart of light within the galaxy's endless night. Battlefleet Solar, mightiest of the Navy's Imperialis armadas, lies ever ready within the great docks of Mars's ring of iron, a war host without equal, prepared to answer any threat that dares strike at mankind's core. The Segmentum Solar is the Imperium's central dominion, its fortress at Mars unyielding and eternal. Terra, cradle of humanity and seat of the Emperor, stands as the most blessed jewel of all. Segmentum Solar is the foundation of mankind's survival, the heart that has endured since the dark age of technology, and the bulwark upon which all hope rests. You're always a good reminder at just like how vast of a fleet and technology you'd have to defend these things. It's just like it's absolutely psychotic. Much less, like the entire Imperium, but like a single solar system. It's
space is big. You can play cat and mouse up there, and good luck. Yeah, it's fun too. What I'm about to talk about, the Ring of Fire too. There's ships and everything in space, and 40K is just so massive. Like, some of the ships are kilometers long. What I'm talking about is like it circles the planet, so it's a metal ring that circles an entire planet. Like, some of this stuff is just so wild big. The other thing that's always kind of interesting too, lots of new people think that like humanity's push out happens for the first time with the Emperor. That's clearly what we know is the narrative. But during the dark age of technology, humanity already spread out once and kind of colonized the galaxy once, spread out everywhere, and then kind of collapsed in on itself. But it was fun going through kind of the history and going through some of the different sectors and just seeing, oh, this was like the third planet humanity clearly kind of landed on and did stuff too. But we'll get there. The Segmentum Fortress of this sector is on Mars, and it's called the Ring of Iron. The Ring of Iron is a vast and eternal complex of orbital shipyards, refineries, and forges that girdle the equator of Mars, the sacred forge of the Adeptus Mechanicus in the Sol system. It is here that the exploratory and crusading fleets of the Emperor's Great Crusade were birthed in the late 30th and early 31st millennia. Armadas forged to carry mankind's light into the abyss. During the Horus Heresy, amidst the schisms of Mars, the traitorous Dark Mechanicus struck against the Iron Ring, or the Ring of Iron, shattering whole spans of its holy forges. From the source of Mars, the destruction burned across the heavens, a grievous wound in the Emperor's dominion. After the heresy was broken and the Imperial truth restored upon Mars, the Ring of Iron was raised anew, its engines rekindled to labor unceasingly birthing the vessels of the newborn Imperial Navy, the lifeblood merchant fleets. By the late 40th millennium, starships and immense void-borne structures are still forged within the ring's boundaries, in the ring's boundless ship factories, while many of Battlefleet Solar's mightiest warships rest within its colossal docks. The Ring of Iron endures as the greatest monument of human hands in the galaxy, a crown of steel guarding the throne of Terra. Yeah, what a fucking place that is, just pumping out ships. And, for 10,000 years, it's been relatively safe, and that's all it's had to worry about. They had a little hiccup with the Horus Heresy there, but after that, they just started building ship after ship.
Yeah, it's crazy. Even so, you'd think eventually they would have mined out Mars, and like the amount of resources they'd have to bring in to just keep manufacturing for that long. Like, that's
do they exclusively use metals from Mars, or
no? That's what I'm thinking. Like at some point, they would have probably mined out everything that Mars had to offer, and are like importing.
I'm sure
as part of the Imperial tithe, like just tons of resources just to keep manufacturing going.
Yeah. Like lots of Forge worlds do have like their food, their agri worlds, nearby, but it just seems like all of the Sol system specifically is so human and industrial dense, and not so much at all any of that actual mining and gathering side. It's more of the production than the gathering. So yeah, they definitely ship in like infinite amounts of resources for the whole system.
Yeah, not just not just Mars, but like Terra and everywhere else.
Yeah,
that's
like, and we're talking food. We're talking. There's no water on Terra, so we're talking all these resources are somehow fucking gathered and shipped around.
Yeah, it's how to do Imperial management, man.
Yep, your water
logistics.
Your funeral pyre world, your shit world. Everyone gets that. Highly specialized sewage world.
All right, well, let's talk about the defense fleets that protect this cradle of humanity. Battlefleet Solar is a vast and unyielding armada of the Imperial Navy sworn to defend Terra and the sacred Segmentum Solar. The Navy's colossal shipyards loom above Luna, while its fortress command lies within the Ring of Iron encircling Mars, the red planet's eternal crown of fire and steel. Within these orbital forges, starships and mighty constructs are birthed without end, and the warships of Battlefleet Solar rest within their immense stocks. Vessels from across the Imperium converge here, for these are the largest monuments ever wrought by human hands. From the crucible of the Horus Heresy was the modern Imperial Navy reborn, and Battlefleet Solar forged into the shield of the throne. The Imperium is divided into 5 great fleet zones, the Segmentae Majoris. Every vessel serves under one of these banners, bound to the will of the Lord High Admiral, master of all warships within that segmentum. There are 5 in total, equals in rank, but the helm of the Segmentum Solar is the most ancient, most honored, and most terrible burden. It is from this post that admirals have risen to the Senatorum Imperialis, ruling as High Lords of Terra. That's an incredible amount of firepower under one person's command. Like these Lord High Admirals are like, we just talked about how big a segmentum is. And yeah, each highest rank is governed by a Lord High Admiral with a fleet big enough to defend that big of a space region.
Yeah. Yeah, like it seems like a way more powerful rank than like the Imperial Guard highest rank at this position. And even when they break it down like that, like after the heresy, like they're like, okay, we can't have people with that much power. You still ultimately have to have somebody at the top of that pyramid, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the whole breakdown of the Imperial military was to limit the amount of damage one rogue could do, but a rogue High Admiral could still do quite a bit of damage. That being said,
and that's why we have assassins, I guess. It's all coming together. The Assassinorum was founded.
Yeah. That being said, though, if you run an Imperial fleet that size, like, it's going to be harder for you to hold planets and hold ground. Like, sure, you could park a vessel on top of it, but then what? Your only options are really just to nuke it and move on, or babysit it forever.
Yeah, because like you can't even really, depending on the planet, but most planets you probably wouldn't even be able to starve out necessarily. Most planets are relatively self-sufficient in 40K.
Really depends on the planet, but yeah.
There's a lot of just shithole worlds out there that just like,
Terra being one of them.
need some help, but there's some nice ones.
Shall we get into the capital sector?
And before we do, just one more little disclaimer on this capital sector. That's not an official term. That's just what I'm kind of focusing on, and it makes sense. But carry on.
Yeah. The official title is Sector Solar, also named the Sol Sector, pronounced Sol, is the holiest division of imperial space within the Segmentum Solar. It is the beating heart of the Imperium of man and the oldest region of humanity's dominion, the core from which all authority flows. Here lie Terra, Luna, and Mars, the Throneworld, the Watch Moon, and the Forge Eternal, once Chthoniya, also circled within this sector, a long-lost homeworld of Horus and the ill-fated sons of Horus Legion, now dust and memory. The Sector Solar is protected by Battlefleet Solar, greatest and most powerful of the Imperial navies, Segmentum Armadas. A wall of steel and fire, the shields that shields the Emperor's realm. Subsector Solar is the sacred subdivision that binds the Sol system, home of Terra, throne of the Adeptus Terra, Mars dominion of the Adeptus Mechanicum. It's kind of interesting, just reading this, kind of had the thought that, I guess it goes along with maybe the medieval thematics that you get in 40K, just how the whole idea that like the solar system revolves around the Earth and that everything, kind of the whole galaxy revolves around the Earth. Like in 40K, everything revolves around Terra. Maybe not like literally, but in sort of a meta sense or a metaphorical sense.
Well, even in a galactic map sense, they do draw the boundaries. Like they shift the whole galactic boundaries off center just to be centered.
Oh, do they? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so they're even like in their propaganda on their maps, they're trying to
push. Human supremacy is not propaganda.
Just what it is.
The stars are ours.
Yeah, it is just funny observation.
It does have its roots too in how like the first medieval maps and stuff would also center like Europe, because like they're the ones drawing it, and the Roman maps would center Rome, Chinese maps would center China. Like it's all like the Earth is round, right? There's no real center, but our maps just orient themselves based on the people who are making them. So same idea.
Yeah, cool. So we're zoom in to the Sol system itself. And we'll go through the worlds, going from the sun out. The sun, Sol, I don't know, the sun. If you don't know what it is, I can't help you at this point. So we'll go to Mercury, the mining world of Mercury. It's a small, dead, and mining world that orbits very close to Sol. Despite its unforgiving conditions, shoal facilities operate in Mercury's orbit. In ancient days, there was a city known as Cytherion on Mercury, which produced the advanced defensive Cytherion pattern Aegis shield devices used by the elite Deathwing Astartes of the ancient Dark Angels legions during the Great Crusade and Horus Heresy. During the Horus Heresy, the Alpha Legion infiltrators worked with anti-imperial scavenger clans in the area. So not much. It's pretty hard to be in that close to the sun, but they're still mining that planet for resources, shipping it off to Mars.
I could imagine two planets that are like closer to the sun are going to have just like naturally more metals in them, and with all that heat, it's like it's pushing all those atoms together to create the metals, so to speak. So maybe it like continually produces more metals faster. I don't know.
I do like that thought. Yeah, like galactic density, like that kind of holds true even on a galactic level, closer to the center, the more planets. I'm also thinking just about asteroid belts, man, even just real quick, and how much resources and metals and all that kind of stuff are in those. So, maybe the metal and that kind of raw resources isn't that hard to get in the system. It's definitely more like the food.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's why we need people.
It's harder to find like agro worlds, right? So there's going to be a far fewer of them than just like rocks that you can pull the raw materials out of.
Yeah.
Just looking it up here, Mercury is mainly made up of iron with a large metallic core containing iron, nickel, and possibly other elements such as silicon and sulfur. So
nice.
Yeah.
Take it home.
Kind of curious. Does like, I know like nuclear bombs have been mentioned in 40K, but do they use much like nuclear energy at all? Or like like radioactive materials?
They do. You have like radium-based weapons too.
You do? Okay.
But I think for story purposes, I think promethium, which is a general catch-all term for fuel types, is kind of what and plasma reactors, I think, are like the two main power sources.
Yeah. Like nuclear almost seems like an outdated technology, oddly enough to say. Now there are examples of like the death corps of Kriegs who nuked their planet because of one heretic, and you got to do what you got to do for the love of the game. So nuclear weapons definitely exist, but like Christian said, it's like plasma. There's more high tech stuff out there. Plasma, promethium.
Yeah. I guess that isn't to say that nuclear tech doesn't also exist alongside these ones, but yeah, I think the ones I've mainly encountered are plasma based or promethium based.
Yeah, like void ships aren't nuclear,
Yeah.
They're plasma.
Yeah. Which there might be a nuclear element to plasma technology, but we don't know.
No.
I haven't quite cracked plasma technology yet, so I'll let you know when our scientists have made their advancements.
Yeah, you are predicted to do it though in the next couple years to crack.
Couple centuries, actually.
Oh, okay. Push back a bit, but we're still excited.
We're excited for the update. Be there soon. All right, let's get into Venus, the industrial world. Venus is an inner planet of the Sol system and the second closest to Sol. During the early stages of the Great Crusade, Venus was conquered by the Iron Warriors Space Marine Legion during the Mare Yasht campaign. The planet was dominated by war witches who fielded armies of litho golem. After the formation of the Imperium, Venus would play a host to a wide variety of luxury resort orbitals, all intended to help the elite of the Sol system find respite and relaxation. Beautiful.
When doing these episodes, I opened up a new tab and just started writing down anytime there's what the fuck are litho golems? Write that in there. Sometimes I get a cool link where it's only one sentence like this one, and other times you get this whole fucking. So the list of episodes grows because what the hell are litho golems?
Do they have a entry of any? Nope. I'm gonna guess that just based on their name, they're probably like lithium-based golems. If people know anything about Jewish mythology, golems are like created out of clay or stone and then brought to life as guardians. So they're made out of like a lithium-based. I'm guessing just based on the name.
Okay. But, yeah, I don't know. There wasn't much information on it, so sometimes, like I said, you click that link and you get
a new book, or you get nothing at all.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So now we have the great Terra,
also known as Super Earth.
Yep. The throne world of the Imperium of Man, once called Earth, in the long-forgotten annals of pre-imperial history, is the origin of mankind and the eternal seat of the God Emperor. It is the holiest and most feared world among the million that comprise the Imperium. Billions of pilgrims make the perilous journey across the stars to kneel upon its scorched and desecrated soil. For even the ash and ruin of Terra is sacred to those devoted to the Imperial Creed. The planet itself is a globe-spanning temple, a labyrinthian cityscape dedicated to the worship of the Emperor. Terra houses the headquarters of the greatest adepta of the Imperium, from the High Lords of Terra to the Ecclesiarchy, and it serves as the central node of imperial authority. Its people live in awe and terror of the Space Marines, memories of the Horus heresies still etched into the ruins and scars of the planet's surface, when the traitor legions razed great cities and slaughtered millions. All records of pre-imperial Earth have been lost or corrupted. Legends speak of vast cities, from pole to pole, monuments to pride and industry, swallowed by pollution and hubris. Then came the cataclysms of the Age of Strife, when weapons of unimaginable horror tore civilization asunder and left the survivors as scattered techno-barbarians, warring for survival amidst the ruins. The Emperor's rise brought the Unification Wars, a brutal campaign of fire and steel that razed the old and forged a new world in his image. The Imperial Palace alone rests upon the remnants of the Himalayas, its foundations carved into the living mountains, while cityscapes stretched across continents, bristling with spires, manufactoria, spaceports, and monuments to the divine. The Horus heresy returned the fire and devastation to Terra. Orbital bombardment and bloody assaults left scars upon the Throneworld that can never heal. Though the War Master's forces were finally repelled, Terra itself became a fortress of Gothic architecture, impregnable walls and endless battlements, a testament to the Imperium's unyielding will. Over 10 millennia, Terra has been rebuilt, yet its grandeur is now macabre and oppressive, as though the planet itself is tethered to the Emperor's failing vitality. In the 41st millennium, Terra is the slow-beating heart of the Imperium. The golden throne burns atop the Imperial Palace, and the cityscape rises in endless towers, awe-inspiring and terrifying, suffused with the dark majesty of a civilization that cannot die. Gigantic statues of angels, saints, primarchs loom from the iris above, their sightless eyes imposing discipline and crushing heresy. Pilgrims who reach Terra often do not leave, seduced or bound by the sacred aura of the throne world. Terra's population is beyond counting. Hundreds of billions divided between the upper echelons of the Imperium and the endless masses who labor beneath them. The ruling class consists of imperial officials, ecclesiarchs, the Navis Nobilite, military officers, scribes, and bureaucrats, the instruments of the Emperor's will. The lower classes are innumerable serfs and thralls, slaves to the manufactoria, hab blocks, and endless bureaucratic machinery that sustains the Imperium's heart. Terra is orbited by a single moon. Luna, a heavily populated civilized world in its own right, whose deep cities and subterranean gene laboratories are integral to the survival of the Emperor's vision. Together, Terra and Luna form the unshakable core of mankind's dominion, a sacred and brutal and eternal empire of steel, faith, and fire.
Terra, the birthplace of man. Man, it's crazy. 100 episodes. We did that old Terra, Malkador, Thunder Warriors kind of 3-episode series. It was so fun. There's so much fun stuff happening there. Great time to be alive.
Was it?
Yeah, man. Techno barbarians. You want to jump really high? Sweet. We'll cut your hips off, replace them with like robotic limbs, or we'll inject you with chemicals so you get really big, beefy limbs. We'll make you jump high. You can dunk a basketball.
We'll find a way.
We'll
turn down the gravity.
We'll sew you to a chicken.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. That was a very cool time period. Just, you say that with whatever cool means to you, but rule of cool for sure, man. Lots of cool techno Vikings or barbarians. And I just picture like the John Blanche art style always when I talk about old Earth. Just like, I've talked about propaganda. Yeah. I've talked about like artwork and how it's changed, but like, that always kind of is just that grim dark always. So, we dive to Luna, the dead world or the civilized world, depending on if you're in the surface or inside. So Luna, Terra's only natural satellite, is a densely settled civilized world of the Imperium. Its massive population lives in the great cities built deep below the lunar regolith. Luna is most famous for the gene laboratories where the Emperor of Mankind made the genetic breakthroughs that would ultimately culminate in the creation of the large number of Astartes who comprised the Legion. Who comprised the Space Marine legions of the late 30th millennium. Luna also boasted a large collection of orbital dockyards for starship construction and maintenance, although these were destroyed during the Horus Heresy. Cool. Luna's kind of neat too. I like too when they kind of tap into some kind of like conspiracy mythos of our time. We get lots of like historical mythos, but we don't know much about the moon. But is it hollow? Is it made of cheese? Well, in 40K, it's hollow.
Well, one of the big conspiracies is like there's a bunch of secret bases on the dark side of the moon. Yes. So maybe that's where all the Emperor's gene seeds are.
No, that's created. Just China making their Chinese super soldiers. Yeah.
The other big conspiracies, we didn't even get there at all, but okay. We'll just ignore that one, I guess, Jordan.
Well, yeah.
It's one or the other. Either we've never even been there or there's super bases on the moon.
Yeah.
or we on the moon now and the moon is actually Earth. Hard to say. We don't know.
I haven't heard that one before. That's a Warhammer original.
Not the best one I've come up with, but...
Buzz in the comments mentions that the moon is a hologram. I think, the flat earthers, that's their claim, is that the moon is actually just a hologram. And like all the planets as well. So I invite the flat earth ire to come upon this podcast. Because apparently if you get caught in their bullseye, they start spamming you.
It's just too bad they're probably not smart enough to figure out how to turn on a podcast and message us. Like...
Just leave that those engagements.
Yeah. Favorite conspiracy is that the moon is a hologram. Yeah, that's a fun one. Great job, everyone. We've done great as humanity with all of this. So I think it's come a long way.
All right. Let's get to our next conspiracy theory. Mars, the Forge World. Mars is the Forge World or holy world of the Adeptus Mechanicus. The red planet is the foremost Forge World of the Imperium, the Forge World principle, and the eternal heart of the cult Mechanicus. Orbiting in the Sol system within the Segmentum Solar, it churns out weapons, vehicles, and arcane technologies that fuel the Imperium's endless wars across the galaxy. Mars is the seat of the Adeptus Mechanicus, the hierarchy of tech priests whose devotion to the Omnissiah shapes the fate of humanity. The planet is sacred, and travel for any who do not share its mechanized faith is restricted, even by imperial decree. To adherents of the cult Mechanicus, Mars is holier than any other celestial orb in the galaxy. So great is its influence that over 100 worlds have been forged in its image, echoing its spires, manufactoria, and forges across the stars. The surface of Mars is a smog-choked inferno, a planet-wide industrial hellscape. Massive forge complexes belch smoke into permanently blood-red sky. Sprawling refineries grind ore into fuel for the Imperium's war engines. Monuments to the Omnissiah scrape the heavens, interspersed with weapons, manufactoria, and armories whose rooftops vanish into the clouds. Above the equator, a vast geosynchronous belt of orbital dry docks and starship factories spin endlessly, the legendary Ring of Iron. It was in these orbitals that the exploratory and expeditionary fleets of the Great Crusade were wrought in the 30th millennium. Even today, the Ring of Iron produces the majority of the Imperial Navy's capital ships, and warships of the battle fleet Solar find their berths in its massive floating docks. Deimos, once Mars' second moon, was long ago displaced to orbit Titan, entrusted to the Grey Knights by Aeon's old decree. That's so funny. We're just gonna move this moon over here. Yeah, Mars is like more sacred than Terra to the cult Mechanicus.
Yeah,
it is its own kind of like, I don't want to say independent, but its own kind of like co-equal partner with the Imperium.
Yeah. They're not married. They're just partners. They want to be called partners to allow the fucking Imperium and cult Mechanicus.
They're life partners, okay?
Life partners, yeah. How would the Ring of Iron work, like just momentum wise? That thing's strapped to the planet, so it's spinning at a certain race. How do you dock to that? Like, oh, that's some fun stuff with the Ring of Iron.
Yeah.
I'll pull up another picture of it.
That was my name in prison. I earned it in the showers.
Oh my god. I love that joke. Oh,
do you think it actually, like, if you see the artwork, you can see like almost parts of it go down to the planet? I don't know if they actually touch the surface or not, but it's curious if they actually have like orbital.
Was that parts, or was that just ships that are extruding out from the ring?
I think they're parts of the ring.
Maybe.
I think they're parts like, almost like, I think like when you pull up to a wharf or a dock full of boats, like get all the boat slips.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's hard to tell from this perspective, but yeah.
Cool place for sure. I hope we do this to Mars one day.
That'd be sweet.
I wouldn't hold my breath. Or you would hold your breath on Mars because there's no atmosphere. Anyways.
There is an atmosphere.
It's very weak, but you're correct.
Yes. Yeah. All right, let's get into Phobos. It is Mars's only remaining natural satellite, a small moon, only 11 kilometers in diameter. Phobos' surface is completely covered in weapon-studded fortifications and is used as an orbital fortress that protects the red planet and its equatorial ring of iron. So it just has weapons on it. As it passes, it shoots you.
Yeah. We gotta wait for next orbit, otherwise the station's gonna get us. Yeah. Well, if they didn't steal the second moon, this would have been perfect. But fucking Demios was stolen. Otherwise, they would have had two of these floating fortresses, and it would have been fine. But no, it's whatever. So one moon was stolen for sure. We'll get to it later in a bit. We kind of mentioned it briefly, but we'll talk more about it later. Ceres. Ceres is a small dwarf planet located within the Solar System inner asteroid belt. During the Horus Heresy era, Ceres was home to a Vox relay and communication stations that helped with communications between inner and outer reaches of the system. Ceres was also home to various orbital habitation stations who were engaged in the industrial mining of the asteroid belt. I don't know if this is a real planet. I don't think it is. Like a real... it is. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. It's technically an asteroid, but they call it a dwarf planet because it's like the biggest of the asteroids. And it is big enough that it's like round. It's like if you look at pictures of it, it actually looks like a planet. Hence the dwarf.
If it's perfectly spherical, or more like not perfectly spherical, but if it is more spherical, it probably has like some sort of gravity. That means so it has enough to pull other materials into itself.
Yeah, but I think it's too small to be considered an actual planet, and because I think it exists in the asteroid belt, it's considered part of the greater belt system.
So it was like a really big planet at one point, and then it all.
It's been a while since I took high school astrology, but
astrology.
And what the astronomy?
I said what I said, Jordan.
Yeah, I also took high school alchemy too.
It's called science.
That's in the belt. Yeah, that sounds like that was in the belt. Then, hey, Christian, it like was a part of it. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I can't remember if the belt formed from like bigger objects that got obliterated, or it was just like in a part of the accretion disk that formed the planets that just never hadn't, like it's in that zone where like it never actually became a planet.
Yeah. Cool.
On that note, let's talk about Jupiter, the gas giant mining world. Jupiter is a massive gas giant in the 5th planet of the Solar System. The orbital space docks and workshops that orbit Jupiter are home to massive Imperial Navy shipyards controlled by the tech priests of Mars. During the time of the Horus Heresy, the moons of Jupiter were known to possess habitats used by the workers of the shipyards in Jupiter's orbit, all of which were powered by the constant stream of radiation emitted from Jupiter. It was in orbit of Jupiter that the infamous Wordbearer's warship, the Furious Abyss, was constructed, before it turned its guns upon its own shipyard in order to maintain the secrecy of its existence. And of course, that was during the Horus Heresy.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Like, a lot of stuff was built during the Great Crusade, destroyed during the Horus Heresy, and then kind of never rebuilt. Like, this was kind of just left now, abandoned.
It happens in war.
Yeah, I just feel like it's the Solar System. We're not going back to Jupiter to retake it. Like, it's been, but yeah, no,
sure. It's a space debris now.
I want that debris.
Fun fact, and I know you're going to go into some of the moons of Jupiter, but I think Jupiter is up to like 95, 96 moons now.
Whoa! Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Greedy.
And they've slowly been discovering these moons over time. Like, I remember when I was in elementary school, they had just discovered like 50-some, 60-some planets, and I was building like a model of the solar system. And I remember fighting with my teacher about how many moons Jupiter actually had. I'm like, I literally saw this like the day before they made some big announcement that there's like now 50 or 60 moons around Jupiter. And so I made my model with 60 moons on it. And, that was not part of the textbook at the time. Funny. Yeah, and now they're up to like 90 something. What's that?
That's wild.
On that note, let's get into see if your model was correct. Let's get into the moons of Jupiter. Ananke, a small moon of Jupiter known to have had habitants on its surface by the time of the Horus heresies. Locas, this moon of Jupiter is known to have had habitants on its surface by the era of the Horus heresies. Europa, located within the range of Jupiter's Galilean moons, Europa has been geoengineered into an ocean moon by the time of the Horus heresy. Isn't Europa like the largest moon on Jupiter? I could be mistaken.
So, yeah.
Lo, the seething orange mass of the moon of Lo is home to an uninhabitable volcanic wasteland. Fun. I wonder, these moons, it's strange. Do they, what do you call it? Do they rotate? Like, I mean, do they spin on an axis? Like the Earth does? Because, like, the moon doesn't, right? Our moon doesn't. Luna.
Yeah, it's tidally locked.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know if they're all different. I know some of the moons are retrograde, so some moons spin one direction, other moons spin the other.
Oh, okay.
Which is why it took them so long to find them all.
Yeah, interesting.
but I don't know individually. Like,
I mean, they
orbit.
orbit.
Yeah, sorry, orbit. I should say.
Jupiter. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know to what extent they
If they spin
on their own
axis.
axis. Yeah. I have no idea. Some do, some don't, or they all do, or what. But
there's 90 of them, and Ursat's favorite is number 72. He thinks that moon's fantastic. Loves it. But that's a lot of different ones.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about 72. Yeah, that's that's really great. Yeah.
The next moon, we got the Ganymede, or the Aquila Adamant, one of the 4 greater Gorelian moons of Jupiter that was known to have an ancient mechanican habitat on its surface during the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy era, and served as the central hub of the massive complex that made up the orbital Jovian shipyards. Later, it was transformed into a warp-tainted wasteland created by the malfunction of experiments designed to test the limits of squat warp coil technology. Fucking cool. In the era Indominus, Greymead was transformed on the order of Primarch Reboot Gilman into a massive hub fortress of the official logisticarium called Aquila Adamant. Its purpose is to supply, support, and archive the actions of the Indominus Crusades fleets and the battle groups as they advance across the galaxy. Is the Liber Malleus the military branch of the Officio Logisticarium? I've never heard of this before I wrote these notes. But then it kind of like, the whole thought with those guys was like, Gilman's like, I need somebody to write some of this shit down. We're kind of getting... we need somebody who can pile information and get a hold of it and write it down here. But that's kind of like these guys are up to. Cool little planet there. I do like, we're talking about like nuclear power and how 40K has different stuff. We didn't even mention warp powered technology. Instead of radiation that taints the planet for 400 years, this is like 10,000 year taint, and maybe demons. So pretty fun.
It taints your soul instead of your body. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty neat. Cancer of the soul.
Yeah. All right. Next planet, not planet, moon is Thule. Thule is a small irregular asteroid moon of Jupiter that served as the clandestine shipyard for the construction of the Furious Abyss and was destroyed by renegade members of the Mechanicum during the Horus Heresy. Yeah.
I like that book, man. I know lots of people didn't like it.
Are you serious?
I did. I don't know, man.
God. There are some elements of it that are interesting, I will say, but it was one of the hardest reads for me.
I'm not saying it had a good plot. I'm just saying I kind of like the vibe of it. It's
you
like
you just like kill teams of like different chapters, so like
onto massive. Yeah, maybe suicidal missions. Maybe that's my style.
Yeah. Maybe you just crave death on the battlefield.
Let a guy live or not.
All right, Callisto. It was a Galilean moon of Jupiter known to hold residential orbits above its surface by the time of the Horus Heresy. So, real exciting stuff there.
Just apartment blocks.
Yeah.
Great views. The Saros Station. The Saros Station was a void station that orbited Jupiter during the time of the Great Crusade and Horus Heresy. This space station resembled a vast spindle bathed in a crimson glow, which made it appear as if it was a crystal chandelier that had been severed from its mounting and cast free into the void. Unlike the majority of the gas giant's other industrial and colonial space stations, Saros has been a resort platform before the Horus Heresy, where the Jovian elite found respite as well as derision from the work of the Jovian system's orbital shipyards and manufactura. It is said that only the Venus orbitals could surpass Saros Station in luxury, with its avenues of gold and silver null gardens, auditoriums, and the finest opera house outside of the Imperial Palace itself. Cool. A little like paradise world, but like the world itself is not nice. You're living in like this like hab block, but it's made of gold, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like there are paradise worlds. There are like the elite can find comfort, and like 40K is obviously known for all its grim dark elements, but there are places and there are social strata that are living like the best lives, despite the suffering of the masses. So
yeah, and they're just making these really cool battleships. Yes,
they're probably like the engineers and designers, and then like the dirty, unwashed masses of laborers live on like space stations and like cramped crew quarters.
Yeah. Solar system is the best system. The chat says, James says that's where Christian lives. Now that's where we're going to have to disagree. That's why I don't like the Sol system. But whatever.
I think it's a matter of personal taste.
You wouldn't say that if you were a xenos.
Dirty, filthy xenos. All right, let's move on to the next planet of Saturn. Saturn is a massive ringed gas giant and the 6th planet of the Solar System. Unlike the rest of the worlds in the Solar System, Saturn never hosted a large human population, due in part to xenos activity, thus making it the perfect candidate to house the newly created Inquisition when it was first established at the end of the Horus Heresy. The moons of Saturn serve as the location for a massive complex of military bases and orbital shipyards maintained by the Inquisition. All of these areas are off limits to anyone who does not serve or have clearance from the Holy Ordos of the Inquisition. Any unidentified vessel nearing Saturn are promptly destroyed by its sophisticated orbital defensives.
I was trying to find which, we mentioned Xenos there real quick. And it just said that the Xenos, like this weird Xenos race, were enslaving the human inhabitants. And I couldn't find like who that was. So lost the time. Sometimes you kill people so good it doesn't matter who they were.
They are erased from history.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Go Imperium.
James in the chat says Christian is a Xenos from Mexico as far as I'm concerned. Actually, we prefer the term alien, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. Nice. And I'm a reverse one of them.
Or illegal alien.
You know, I always wonder what people think of my immigration status, you know. Hey, he's reversing. Somebody get him. Throw him back in Canada. But,
yeah, you're a filthy gringo, Mark.
Yeah.
Go back to where you came from.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into Titan, the Inquisition Fortress World and or Space Marine Chapter Homeworld. Titan is the largest moon of the gas giant Saturn and the largest moon in the Sol system. It is wholly controlled by the Grey Knights chapter of physically active Space Marines who serve as the chamber militant of the Inquisition's Ordo Malleus. The fortress monastery of the Grey Knights is based on Titan and is carved entirely out of basalt.
Fucking cool. Yeah. We've talked about the Grey Knights before. It was like way back in like episode like 40 or something, but yeah, that's a cool place. And as a gift to the Grey Knights, they're like, here, have one of Mars's moons, Demios. So this was previously the second moon of Mars and served as a small forge world within the small gridded manufactory that produced weapons and armor. When Malkador the Sigillite created the Grey Knights during the Horus Heresy, the moon was displaced from real space into the warp alongside Titan itself. Several standard centuries after the Battle of Terra, it reappeared. Its orbit relocated to the Circle Titan by the way of unknown arcane technologies. It is now the primary source of war gear and vehicles used by the Grey Knights. That's fucking tight. They got their own like manufactorum that like a moon that orbits a moon that orbits a moon.
It's moons all the way down.
Moons all the way down. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Not many chapters have that close of a tie to like supplies, but yeah, they deserve it.
Grey Knights are always extra special.
Yeah.
So special that they get to kill the Emperor himself if he tries to get it.
Shit.
We're not going down the road. Sorry I brought it up. Okay.
Yeah.
Next moon is Mimas, Inquisition Prison World. It is the closest major moon to Saturn, marred by an immense impact scar that covers a quarter of the surface. This crater houses the Inquisitorial Prison Complex, which contains the worst criminals hunted by the Inquisition, who are kept in isolated cells with psychic wards woven into the walls and guarded by gun servitors and an Inquisitorial stormtrooper regiment.
You know what, though? Like, we've been having a problem. Like, let's just ship immigrants there. That sounds like a good place for them. Illegals, you can... Wow, you got a whole prison planet up there. Infinite space. Wide open void. All right, so good thing I don't have a real job. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably. These guys aren't associated with my nonsense, unfortunately. My parents pay them to hang out with me, and that's why they're here. Next planet.
All right. Enceladus. Enceladus? Enceladus houses.
You have to feed the prison planet, Jordan.
It houses a citadel of the Inquisition and is a vast palace from which Lord Inquisitors of the Ordo Malleus hold court, and also the world where many of these lords maintain their personal estates. The primary citadel used by the Inquisition is known as the Enceladus Fortress. In the libraries of that fortress, there are countless volumes of forbidden lore on that subject of the chaos and demons. The Enceladus Fortress also incorporates the Admiralty Spire, where the Empire of Saturn's ancient rulers signed their treaty with the Emperor during the Great Crusade to join the Imperium of Man.
Nice. Fun little forbidden lore bookshelves. I like that this is all kind of like close enough to the Grey Knight homeworld, you know? Yeah, lots of cross, kind of like the Inquisition's kind of right there. They got this super cool library. What else do they got? The next moon is Tethys, and it is a site of a hidden archive of the Librarium Demonicum. Ooh, so an even bigger library. Access with which is restricted to Lord Inquisitors. Tethys is the home to a number of demons trapped beneath its surface. One of the set of trials for all aspiring paladins of the Grey Knights is to survive on the surface without their power armor. Interesting.
I was going to mention too, going back to the prison moon Mimas. It makes sense that like that's probably like the worst of the worst criminals, not criminals, but like most powerful psychic and other like it's the Inquisition's like biggest prison complex. Like it's got to be some of the like hardest criminals. Again, when I use criminals, I use the term loosely.
Yeah, and it's weird, like, because in 40K, like, you can kill anyone for even just stealing a loaf of bread, and no one's gonna question you for it. So, like, who are you imprisoning and why? Like, they're like these crazy, like you said, powerful people that you can't kill without huge repercussions. Maybe you kill them, you know you're gonna open a warp portal somewhere, just whatever.
Yeah, or they're kept alive to interrogate, or like any number of reasons.
Sure.
The Inquisition only knows, but yeah, whoever they are that are stored there, the Inquisition deem them not suitable for execution for whatever reason, and are taking the craziest precautions to make sure whatever's there doesn't get out. So
nice.
Yeah. Or maybe it's a place where it's just the step below deserving of execution.
Okay. Yeah.
Just above servitorhood and just below execution.
I see. Yeah. I don't know what crime is fitting of such a punishment, but it's like, you kicked the dog accidentally. This is what happens to you. You go to jail for a long time.
On one of Saturn's moons. Iapetus is the next moon. It is an Imperial Navy fortress. It's the furthermost major moon in orbit of Saturn and home to the vast naval fortress and series of dockyards that serves the various strike fleets of the Grey Knights chapter, along with starships requisitioned from Battlefleet Solar by the Inquisition. As it is under Inquisitorial command, Iapetus serves as the only reliable means of getting into and out of the rings of Saturn. Iapetus was a stronghold of the Ringers, the culture that occupied parts of the Saturnian system before the coming of the Emperor and the Imperium during the Great Crusade.
Ooh.
Yeah. Do we know anything about the ringers?
No. I could look. I don't recall anything off the top of my head. Yeah.
No, just.
All right, shall we get into everyone's favorite planet? Everyone get your jokes out.
Okay.
Uranus. Uranus.
You're welcome on Uranus anytime. Come view the core.
All right. Uranus is a massive gas giant.
Uranus is always open.
It is the seventh world of the Sol system, though never habitable. It is home to orbiting human colonies, most notably the Azurites, a peaceful community of artisans who made their living through scavenging. The Azurite population was largely wiped out during the Great Crusade, during the so-called Unheard War, when their population became infected by a war-spawned disease known as the Screaming, which began to mutate them into demons. Though the Imperial Fist Legion was dispatched to provide aid, the Azurites were annihilated by the Astartes. Annihilated by the Astartes need to prevent the plague from spreading across the Sol system. The moons of Uranus are now used mostly for mining by the Imperium. By the time of the Horus Heresy, Uranus's moons and close orbitals had been repopulated by new human colonists. And then we have Ariel, which is one of Uranus's moons, and it is home to Imperial mining operations.
People want to change the name of the moon in the future or that of that planet. I don't think so. I think we keep it. I think it's perfect. I think the namer knew exactly what he was doing.
No, I think we do rename it, but we go even crazier. We spell it like UOURANUS, like really go ham.
Yes, spell it phonetically, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. I'm in. We'll jump over now to Neptune, the next gas giant, and it's a massive gas giant and the eighth and furthest major planet from Sol. Neptune was first colonized by humans during the era known as the Age of Terra, but by the time the Emperor reconquered Neptune for the Imperium during the Great Crusade, its inhabitants had been transformed into mutants by the isolation from Terra and the harsh environment, which caused them all to be destroyed by the Emperor's forces. It was their fault, those filthy mutants. The Emperor landed on that planet. He's like, not in my Imperium.
That's it. Nothing else was decreed, and so they were destroyed.
Yeah.
Liar.
We allow some type of mutants, but that one's no.
No. Liar in the chat says we should change the name to Eurectum.
Eurectum.
I was dying.
Yeah, that's a good one. No, I like Uranus to be the most inclusive. But that, whatever. Don't change a good thing, I think, still.
Yeah. Fair. It's interesting, the farther we get away from Earth, like less and less information and like depth, and like we don't really know what colonies are there now or what the planet is used for. They're just kind of, there were things there once, but the Imperium came and wiped them out as per usual.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. I wonder how much of that is just based off of like our current knowledge of what's out there. Like you said, we're still discovering all these moons, and maybe we just don't have a good enough view ourselves of Neptune to kind of like, I don't know anything about it.
For it in a fictional universe, yes.
Well, like to come up with, you don't want to create a moon for a place that doesn't have a moon, like, because then you're gonna be like, fuck, where are we gonna get this moon? We already took one from Mars. We can't do that.
I was gonna say, clearly the technology exists, so it wouldn't be the craziest to move the moons around.
Rocks are not free, citizen. You cannot just use the Emperor's precious fuel to be moving planets. It's not cost effective.
Fine. Fair. All right. Well, this brings us to the most outermost. I don't know if I want to call it a planet. Maybe I do want to call it a planet. But welcome to Pluto. Pluto is a small dwarf planet located in the outer rim of the Sol system. During the Great Crusade era, Pluto was home to relay stations that were responsible for warning Terra of any imminent invasion. During the Horus Heresy, the world and its accompanying moons was the site of a major Alpha Legion attack in what became the first major engagement of the Solar War.
All right. So we'll go on to the moon of Pluto, Charon. It's the largest natural satellite of Pluto. And then Styx is a natural satellite of Pluto. And then Nix is a natural satellite of
Not
Pluto.
a lot of information.
Styx and Nix. Kerberos, again, a natural satellite of Pluto, and is used as a heavily armed orbital fortress. And then we have Hydra. It is a natural satellite of Pluto and houses astropathic relay station.
I do like that little detail about the astropathic relay station. You kind of put those on the edge of your system to, maximize that relay.
Bloop. Get that best signal.
Yeah, get that best signal, exactly. All right, then we move to Sedna, and it's a planetoid-sized trans-Neptunian object of xenos origin located in the Sol system's inner Oort cloud. During the early Great Crusade, 8 Space Marine legions fought against an unremembered xenos species on the dark surface of Sedenia, finally leaving the entire Sol system in humans' hands for the first time since the start of the Age of Strife. Interesting, yeah. There's a couple different xenos in our system, and fuck, man, do we have some in our... Do you guys see those mummified 3-finger aliens that everyone's talking about?
Yeah, the like the Nazca mummies or whatever.
Yeah, man. Fuck, what xenos are in our galaxy right now? Hard to say.
Yeah, hard to say.
Is it?
I want to be the first one to kill them all. That's all I can say.
All right, Anakin Skywalker. All right, let's explore some other celestial objects within the Sol system, starting with the asteroid belt. The asteroid belt lies between Mars and Jupiter and separates the inner and outer solar system. Ceres is the largest settlement of the asteroid belt. During the early 31st millennium, the asteroid belt was populated by various mining operations and orbital habitat stations, some of which were controlled by belter coalitions.
And then we'll get into the Kuiper belt. It's another asteroid belt. The Kuiper belt is nearly 20 times larger and 200 times wider and 200 times larger than the inner asteroid belt. The Kuiper belt reaches from the orbit of Neptune and out towards the Sol system's Oort cloud. Several celestial bodies reside within the Kuiper belt, including Pluto and its moons, and the dwarf planet of Haumea and Makemake.
Try it with an accent. Like a Chinese
I don't want to get fired from my job. Actually, I'm my own boss, so here I go.
Yes.
Make.
Yes, that is it. We got the Shrine Comet up next. The Shrine Comet is an artificial construct built by unknown persons during the Dark Age of technology that orbits the Sol system every 1,000 Terran years, tracking an irregular elliptical route around the sun. In millennia past, when its trajectory was stable and more accurately predicted, it possessed a different name. But what it was had been lost in the murky fog of time. During one such appearance, during the unification wars of Terra, were coming to an end, and the Emperor decided to intercept the comet and modify it as a shrine commemorating his victory. Known as the Shrine of Unity, it was a potent symbol of imperial strength and unified purpose. During that time, the zealous 17th Legion, the Wordbearers, secretly built a shrine defying the Emperor on the comet. Following their deifying. Thank you. That makes better.
It's an important difference, yes.
Very. Yeah.
Although they did defy the Emperor by deifying him, is also true.
Wait a minute. Following their chastisement by the Emperor at Monarchia, the Primarch Largar charged Captain Sor Talgron with secretly tearing down the shrine before anyone found out, so as not to risk further embarrassment. Wow. But in reality, this mission was only a cover story to conceal the wordbearer's true intentions to sabotage the Imperial Palace in preparation for the eventual Chaos invasion. Yeah, okay. Pretty cool.
Just subtly tearing down a comet shrine because they're embarrassed.
So. Yeah. Is this like Halley's Comet? No, because that comes around more than 1,000 years.
I don't think it's that long, but it says it's an artificial construct. So, yeah. Okay,
so that one's not like a real. Yeah.
No.
I was thinking maybe at Planet X at first or whatever, but no, yeah, you're right. It's something very different.
Yeah. Yeah, and who knows when in the fictional future it would have been built.
Yeah.
All right, next celestial object is Artifact 9 Kappa Mu. Artifact 9 Kappa Mu is a mysterious relic of the Sol system that orbits the sun between Terra and Venus, a geodesic sphere of black metal nearly 30 kilometers in diameter. The artifact is marked by honeycombed passages and catacombs. The artifact's origin is completely unknown and may even predate the Dark Age of technology. So it's just this mysterious floating object really close to the sun. Could it be of Necron origin? Could it be of Old One technology? Could it be an Eldar object? An anal for Uranus? We don't know.
Maybe. Some more other things about it is it's completely invisible to detection by all methods save physical touch and natural sight. So you have to get to it. And in space, that does become an issue in space to actually find an object.
30 kilometers actually isn't that big in space. So
no,
yeah, it's like a speck of dust, basically.
Yeah.
Centaurs. Centaurs are small dwarf planets that usually feature unstable orbits due to previous encounters with larger planetary bodies. Centaurs mostly exist in the outer reaches of the Sol system. Although due to their unstable orbits, they sometimes cross into the inner solar system.
Cool. Traveling planets. And then we got comets, and they're small icy bodies. Usually, you know what a comet is. I don't need to be that guy for you. I don't
Tell
know
the people what they want to know, Mark.
No. If you don't know, I can't help you at that point. What is the Oort cloud though? Because I've never heard of that before.
Yes, give us your astrology lesson there, Christian.
Yeah, it is a sphere of asteroids a cloud of rocks and debris too that like surrounds the solar system.
And it's a real thing too. I've found that out.
Yeah. I just discovered by Google. Yes.
Yeah. No, I discovered it completely, and I'm going to rename it
right
the
here.
Mark Cloud.
Yeah. All right. And I'm going to call the disease that I just discovered that is Mark's brain called Marcus syndrome.
Mark rot. Yeah.
Mark rot. It makes you think you discovered things that have been around forever.
You guys ever heard of water? It's great.
It's great. New discovery.
The Sol system's defenses. All this, and you want to keep it safe. So how do you? There was an age when the wholesale invasion of the Throneworld of Terra was unthinkable. That age is gone. With the opening of the Great Rift, even the Imperium's most secure worlds are exposed to horrors beyond reckoning. The Sol system today is girded with fortifications unequal across the stars, manned by fanatical warriors and defended by both arcane technology and unyielding faith. Yet above all, the true linchpin of the system's survival is the Adeptus Custodes. Any bold or foolhardy invader, including Grey Knights attempting to enter the Sol system, would first confront the deadly gauntlet of the Mandela Point, the outermost region where the warp translation becomes feasible. Beyond this threshold, the system's halo belt bristles with massive star forts, their garrisons composed of veteran Astra Militarum regiments and tethered by arcane Imperium wards. Beyond the belt, the void itself is a lethal maze. Fields of 1,000-mile-wide void mines drift unseen. Systems monitor, patrol, and silence menace, and colossal hunter servitors, faceless and terrible, glide through the darkness, ready to rend or consume any who trespass. Hunter servitors, that's a crazy little thought. Like these, like, just like, yeah. When I think of a servitor, I think of like us server types, like, but like you're not just launching humans in space. Like, I hope they find a body. Like, yeah. I don't know what those fucking things are, but I want more info. If the invader survives,
we'll get to it in our servitors episode, I'm sure.
Perfect, yes. 101 and more to see. Gotta catch 'em all. I don't know the song very well, but that's close enough. If the invader survives this outer crucible, the resistance only stiffens. Battle fleet solar warships thunder through the void, their jagged silhouettes heralding destruction. Orbital fortresses, dock shrines, fighter bastions, and deadly weapon platforms stud the darkness like artificial constellations, all trained to strike with precision, unrelenting lethality. Within the system, the Grey Knights, the Inquisition, the Adeptus Mechanicus hold territories fortified to lethal perfection. Since the implementation of Guilliman's Throneworld decree, Terra and her sister worlds can muster forces for their own defense on a scale previously unimaginable. Coupled with the Solar Watch, an elite cadre of custodians sworn to keep the Sol system inviolate, and the mighty Imperial Fifth's mobile battle station, the Phalanx, in geostationary orbit above Terra, the Sol system is all but impenetrable. Yet the deadliest threats are often subtler than invading fleets. Every solar day seems streams of pilgrimers, merchants, bureaucrats, adepts, zealots, refuges, and uncounted others emerge from the warp, along the meticulously regulated approach corridors of Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Luna, and Terra. Habitats, docking platforms, manufactorums, sprawling fortresses encircle nearly every world and moon, forming a choking web of human activity. Among this unending river of humanity, rebellion, sedition, and heresy can do and fester. It is the charge of the Inquisition to purge such threats, and many Holy Ordo's agents spend their lives in ceaseless vigilance. Yet even these pious servants are vulnerable to corruption, whether by the whispers of nihilists, chaos contamination, or the allure of alien sorcery. Thus, the Adeptus Custodes maintain their own ceaseless presence. They patrol the Sol system with no predictable pattern, sweeping through starports, hives, manufactor, and orbital platforms alike. Listening devices, spy servitors, and what is that one? Dactylaneous subroutines penetrate every shadowed corner. They gather every scrap of intelligence, ship registries, labor rotations, sermons, Vox intercepts, fleet movements, feeding into macro cogitators, fast enough to rival starships. Fucking cool. Just giant surveillance state AI. They also have star forts known in the Sol system, include the Oracle Maximus, Prescience, Talon Aegeus, and Erie Prime. These are overseen by the Adeptus Custodes. From these engines emerge prophecies of actions guiding the Captain General and the Adeptus Custodes in command decisions. It is through this unending vigilance, both brutal and exacting, that the 10,000 maintain the Sol system's defense, ensuring that Terra, the Throneworld, and the Golden Throne remain involatile, that no enemy of humanity can never strike unbidden. Alpha Primus says, call that prof, we need an English class. Yeah, man, I'm slurring tonight. I'm only 12 beers deep, so I don't know what the issue is.
It's usually what you have for breakfast to start the day.
Oh, man. That's not good. Didn't eat
breakfast. All right, shall we do the Astartes? Astartes. Adeptus Astartes. Terra itself orbits the massively powerful Imperial Fist battle station, known as the Phalanx. Due to the massive daily influx of zealots, adepts, bureaucrats, merchants, pilgrims, and the like, daily security is screened heavily by the Adeptus Custodes. The Custodes maintain surveillance stations and listening devices throughout the system.
So the Imperial Fists are really the only one Astartes in the Sol system. There are a lot in the Segmentum Solar. There's like so many. I went to compile a list. I'm like, that this is just going to take all day. Like, there's just so reading. Many from. Yeah.
Are the who are the Spartan looking guys?
Minotaurs.
Yeah, are the Minotaurs soul based?
No, they are fleet based. So, yeah, in theory, I guess they could be soul based, but.
Yeah. All right, and amongst all that long list of Astartes, there's also a long list of Imperial Guard regiments that are also based in the Sol system, including but not limited to the Palatine Sentinels, the Lucifer Blacks, the Jupiter Storms, the Auroran Rifles, the Granite Myrmidons, the Inferalti Hussars, the Orion Watch, and potentially the Terran Prefects.
Yeah, cool. You don't often hear about the start or the regiments coming out of there, but there's a couple cool ones. Like the Palatine Sentinels, they're very cool. They got a little bit of lore that you could actually kind of collect them and build an army on tabletop, you know?
Yeah, the Lucifer Blacks also are mentioned quite a bit in the Horus Heresy era.
Sure.
Storied regiment.
Yeah. And then you just get other cool ones where like the name itself gives away such a vibe, like the Terran Prefects. So, yeah. Cool. Well, that was what I wrote down and want to share with all you guys. The Segmentum has so much more in it, though. Like, I was just reading through, clicking link after link. Like, how do you present all this? But I think we got a good direction going. We're going to be diving into the Segmentums one at a time, kind of highlighting their capital system. And then we're going to go back around and focus up on some of these other things once we got a little more context. So lots to go forward and cover. Yeah, fun stuff. Do we want to do maybe one or two call-ins here? Let's see if somebody jumps in real quick. We don't want to wait around and just have me talk.
Let's see how many people remember grade school solar system lessons.
Yes. How wrong were we about all these planets? Yes.
Tell us your favorite planet to die fighting xenos on.
Yeah, I definitely don't want it to have an atmosphere, you know? Like, we want it to be dangerous. Yeah. I know people in the Discord were saying they want to call in tonight, but I don't know what that means. They also say all types of things in there.
That you shouldn't believe.
No. They're bad people. They say bad things. Any thoughts from you guys? Otherwise, we'll just sign off, I guess.
That was a fun little tour through the solar system.
Yeah. We got a little more. It was fun just seeing, what the planets are. You know, we've heard of Uranus so many times. What happened to it? Well, it's still doing its thing.
Yeah, I feel like really the only really important planets is like Terra, Mars, and Luna, you know, and everything else is kind of.
Yeah, they're all either mining or hanging out worlds, or I guess technically Grey Knight's Titan. Pretty secret.
Yeah, I guess
secret. So. We're not supposed to know about that though.
Yeah, fair.
So
it's actually kind of surprising how like there is so much information, like you said, but at the same time, the only galaxy wide affecting information would be Terra and Mars.
Yeah,
which is a little surprising, to be honest.
Yeah, and they just seemed like after the Horus Heresy, like they didn't really bother rebuilding it. Like they rebuilt Terra and Mars, and then they kind of stopped at that. It seemed. So.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's that. On the next episode, I don't know which segmentum we're going to do next. We'll roll a dice. We'll let the Discord choose. I don't know. Join the Discord.
Throw a dart at a galactic map and see where it lands.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Right into the void. All right, we'll see you all. And come check out Lorehammer Listen to Lores. If you like homebrew lore, come check out Lorehammer Listen to Lore podcast.
And if you want to explore another galaxy far, far away, come listen to the Star Wars podcast with me and Jordan as we take you through the Star Wars universe with Star Wars.
Yes, love it. All right, we'll see you all in the next episode.
Peace.